You want to read. You like reading. But lately, something's just not right. The book you're reading is good, but you're not enjoying it. The spark, the passion for reading that you had, it's gone. You feel lost. No matter how hard you try, you can't bring yourself to pick up a book. And even when you do, reading doesn't have the same magic that it usually does. You've come to the right place. Welcome to or back to my channel. My name's Annie, and today we're gonna be talking about reading slumps. They're the worst and they suck. I actually am just coming out of a reading slump, so I thought I'd make this video. I have lots of different kind of methods and things I do to get out of a reading slump. I think I have seven tips to get out of a reading slump. Also, if you notice my hand, don't worry about it, it's fine. I got a cut. I think I was supposed to get stitches. I think I should have gotten stitches, but the lady at the urgent care didn't even give me a band-aid. She was just like, you don't need stitches, and then walked out. So anyway, that was such a tangent. Being in a reading slump can be caused by lots of different things, and it can be different every time you have one or for every person that's having one. So I'm gonna try to keep my advice pretty general, but hopefully you can apply it to your own situation. And I'm also gonna talk a little bit about my reading slump that I'm like currently getting out of and what caused it and how I fixed it. So I'm gonna relate these tips back to that. First up, don't be afraid to DNF. Really don't. It's okay. If you're reading a book that you think is like objectively good and probably something you would enjoy were you not in a slump, set it aside. Set it aside. It's okay. It will still be there. There's no reason to push yourself. Reading is supposed to be fun. You just have to be patient with yourself and put books to the side. This heavily links to my second tip, which is to mood read. The reason I think I got into the slump that I'm now coming out of is because I wasn't mood reading. I was just reading books for videos and I wasn't clicking with them, and then it made me not want to read anything. I've been really wanting to read epic fantasy for like 2 or 3 months, and I haven't let myself because I wanted to read horror books in October and I wanted to read cozy books in November. And what is helping me get out of my slump is reading books, not because I feel like I should read them for videos or because it's a certain time of year, which I feel like maybe more people can relate to, but I'm trying to read books simply for enjoyment, and whatever happens with my channel happens with my channel. Like, I will find a way to incorporate them into my content. I know that's kind of like a personal thing more so, but you, for instance, if you're not making bookish content, which most people aren't, you might be trying to read for the season. You might be trying to read a book that your friend recommended you. Or maybe you had goals of books you wanted to read in 2024, and now it's almost the end of 2024 and you're trying to read those books, but you just really wish that you could be reading something else. DNF, or even just put it on pause. You don't have to like call it a DNF. Just put it on pause and read something that you're in the mood to read. This brings me to my third point, which is what to do if you don't know what you're in the mood for. I have kind of 2 tips for this one, so this will be like 3 and 4. Find a similar book to a book that you loved is one, and second, reread a book that you loved. Whenever anyone asks me how to get back into reading, if they like loved to read when they were a kid, or even if they liked reading up until a couple years ago and they just stopped, I always tell them to find a book that's similar to the books that they loved as a kid, or to just reread those books that they loved as a kid and then move on to something else, just to recapture that passion. Like, I feel like a lot of people grew up reading and really loved it. Like, I was a big Percy Jackson reader. I loved Harry Potter, like all of that stuff. Reread the books that made you fall in love with reading in the first place, that made you feel transported. Reread the last book you couldn't put down, that like consumed you, or find a book that's similar to books that gave you that feeling. So if you don't know where to find a book that's similar. There's literally a website called whatshouldireadnext.com. You will put in the name of a book or an author that you like, and it'll give you books to read that are similar to that author. So I put in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, for instance, and it says, if you liked Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, here are some books like this. And it gave us The Chronicles of Narnia, The Magician's Nephew, Neil Gaiman, The Sandman. It gives you all sorts of books that are similar. There's also another one, I can't remember the name, but I'll link it below if I can find it, that will give, there are tons of tools to help you find books that are similar to ones you loved. Another good option is to continue a series that you've been really enjoying, which might seem like kind of an obvious thing to do, but sometimes I forget about the series that I'm reading, and then I get into a slump where I'm just not in a good reading mood, and I literally forget that there's a whole series that I love and I could just read the next one. Tip 5 would be to read something that's faster paced and or YA. I find YA books really, really good for getting out of slumps, especially a good YA like mystery thriller. For instance, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson would be the perfect book to get someone out of a slump. I love that series. It's fast-paced, it's easy to read, but it's got some really great plot progression and character depth. I just think it's like a really fun series, but it's actually got a really compelling mystery that's quite serious. I feel like finding maybe a mystery thriller, a YA book that's maybe like a bit more action-packed could really help. The 6th tip I have is to switch up your reading format. So if you're reading physically and it's just not really working for you, maybe go to a Kindle. I really like reading on the Kindle because it makes me feel really accomplished. Like, it'll tell me how much time is left in the chapter or how much time is left in the book, and as you click through, like, it's so satisfying to watch the time like decrease. I don't know, there's something really great about it that makes it feel a lot easier to get through books. I think also audiobooks are incredible, and you can listen to an audiobook while you're doing anything, like while you're, I don't know, folding the laundry, while you're driving, and that way you're reading while you're doing all these other things. Some really good audiobooks that I feel like could help for someone in a slump are the Thursday Murder Club books by Richard Osman. They have fantastic audiobooks, and I really love that series. It's another mystery series. I think what you will want to read will depend on what kind of slump you're in and what caused it. But if you want to read a mystery series and you are looking for an audiobook, those ones are really good. I just feel like switching up a book format can make reading feel a bit more fresh and different, which can be really helpful when you're in a slump. Finally, my last tip is to watch or engage in bookish content. This is not me saying, oh my god, watch my channel. I think for me, when I'm in a reading slump, or even if I've just like not read in a couple days and I've been busy, watching BookTube makes me so happy and so much more motivated to read. There's something so nice about watching other people really enjoy books, and then you get the bonus of like getting good recommendations too. Some channels I really like to watch are Daniel Green, Murphy Napier, Gavin Reads It All, and Katie Colson. I would say those are the 4 channels I watch the most. Especially lately, I've been watching a lot of Murphy and Daniel because I am wanting to read a lot more fantasy. I think 2025 is going to be my fantasy year because I love the genre and I want to get into it more. Sometimes I'll watch a video on BookTube and I won't even get all the way through it. I'll just pause it and then I'll go read and I'll finish the video later because I just feel more like I want to actually go sit down and read. I know, like, tell me if that sounds silly, but I think it really helps. Another thing, honestly, maybe this could be tip 8, but it's basically the same as tip 7, is to do reading sprints. Reading sprints are so great. I know Gavin does a lot of public reading sprints on YouTube. I caught one a couple days ago and I think I'm gonna rewatch it today actually while I read. If you don't know what reading sprints are, it's basically when typically I think a booktuber would do this will go live on their channel or on their Patreon, and we'll have like a Pomodoro type of setup where they're chatting for however long, and then they'll set a timer for, I don't know, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, something like that. And then you all kind of read together while you're watching the live. Or you could do other things and be productive. Sometimes I do it when I have work to do or editing to do, but it's nice to feel like you're not in this alone. Especially catching them live is really great because then you can interact in the chat and stuff. It's nice to give yourself small little attainable goals. Like if you just are gonna sit there and read for half an hour, that's attainable, that's so fine. And even if that didn't like cure your reading slump, at least you sat and you tried and you read. I just think a sense of community when it comes to reading can be really inspiring. And I don't know, you could be in the chat like, I'm in a slump, please help. And then someone can give you more tips or like reading recommendations based on what you like. So I would highly recommend. I will link all the people I've mentioned, like their channels, in the description. I know Katie and Gavin definitely do lives on their channel, and you can often find them archived, so I'll watch them back a lot of the time. But yeah, I think reading sprints can be super helpful. So those are all my tips for how to get out of a reading slump. I hope that this helps you if you're going through one right now. Trust me, like we've all been there. It sucks, but I hope you get out of it. And if you're not in a reading slump, good for you. And come back to this video if you need it at another date. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know any videos you'd like to see from me, any books you'd like me to read. Share your tips for getting out of a reading slump in the comments. I hope that we can all give each other some advice, because being in a reading slump the past couple weeks has been the worst. It's just so sad. Give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me in the future. Oh, if you watched to this point in the video, leave a thumbs up emoji, or some sort of encouraging emoji, like a little you can do it type of vibe. I actually am not that well versed in emoji. I'm always telling you guys to leave some, and then I fear that they might not exist or something, but I know the thumbs up one does, so maybe that one. I hope you're having a great day, evening, morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.